Venezuela attempts to sneak cocaine freighter behind legitimate U.S. cargo ship. Shadow convoy tactic. Navy spots the hidden trail using advanced surveillance. This is warfare signal. U.S. Navy P-8A Poseidon conducting routine maritime patrol, Eastern Pacific, 340 nautical miles southwest of San Diego. Monitoring commercial shipping lanes. Standard surveillance operation. The aircraft's synthetic aperture radar detects two vessels traveling in close formation. Unusual pattern. One ship directly behind another, spacing only 800 yards. This isn't normal merchant vessel behavior. Ships maintain separation for safety. Collision avoidance. This tight formation suggests deliberate shadowing. Lieutenant Commander Marcus Chen commands the P-8A. 18 years Navy experience. He's seen smuggling tactics evolve. Fast boats, semi-submersibles, container concealment. But using legitimate cargo ship as cover? That's sophisticated. That's new. That demonstrates planning, intelligence, resources. This is professional trafficking operation, not improvised smuggling run. The P-8A crew analyzes the formation. Lead vessel identifies as MV Pacific Trader. U.S.-flagged container ship. Scheduled route from Los Angeles to Panama. Legitimate cargo manifest. Regular shipping company. Clean record. Nothing suspicious. But the second vessel is different. MV Caribbean Dream. Panamanian flag. Rusted hull. No recent port calls documented. Automatic identification system shows minimal broadcast history. This ship has been deliberately staying dark, avoiding tracking, operating covertly. The spacing tells the story. Caribbean Dream maintains exact 800-yard distance behind Pacific Trader, matches speed precisely, follows course changes. The trailing ship is using lead vessel's radar shadow, hiding behind larger ship. Coastal radar systems see one strong return, don't detect second vessel. The Caribbean Dream becomes invisible. Ghost ship, protected by legitimate merchant's radar signature. What's your assessment of shadow convoy tactics? Type A for advanced surveillance. Type B for immediate interception. Type L for long-term tracking. Chen reports to Joint Interagency Task Force South. Suspected smuggling vessel using shadow convoy tactic. Caribbean Dream trailing U.S.-flagged Pacific Trader. Appears to be hiding in radar shadow. Request guidance for interdiction. The response is immediate. Track both vessels. Maintain surveillance. Gather intelligence. Then intercept when optimal. This is coordination opportunity. Understand tactic. Document method. Counter effectively. The P-8A maintains surveillance from 15,000 feet, high enough to avoid visual detection, close enough for detailed monitoring. The aircraft's sensors track both ships. Infrared imaging, radar mapping, electronic emissions monitoring. Every aspect of the shadow convoy gets documented. This is intelligence collection. Understanding enemy tactics, developing countermeasures for future operations. Stay with me. The Navy response reveals why sophisticated smuggling fails against advanced surveillance. Over next 6 hours, the pattern becomes clear. Caribbean Dream follows Pacific Trader religiously. When lead ship changes course, trailing ship adjusts within 2 minutes. When speed changes, shadow ship matches. The Venezuelan vessel uses legitimate merchant as shield, as navigation guide, as cover for illegal transit toward U.S. waters. This tactic works against basic coastal radar, against routine patrol, but against focused surveillance, completely ineffective. The intelligence analysis begins. How long has this been happening? Review of historical shipping data shows pattern. Pacific Trader has made this route 12 times in past year. Each time, radar returns show potential second vessel in trail position. But nobody investigated. Nobody looked closely. The shadow convoy tactic worked repeatedly. Until today. Until P-8A with advanced sensors detected it. Until trained crew recognized the pattern as hostile operation. USS Michael Mansour, a Zumwalt-class destroyer, receives tasking. Intercept the shadow convoy. She's operating 200 miles west. Perfect position. The Mansour is newest, most advanced destroyer in U.S. inventory. Stealth design, sophisticated sensors. She can approach undetected, can observe, can strike without warning if necessary. Captain Sarah Mitchell commands. She understands the mission. Stop smuggling. Document tactics. Send message that shadow convoy technique is defeated. If you believe advanced technology defeats smuggling innovation, type warfare signal in the comments. The Mansour departs station at 20:30 hours. Stealth approach. Radar cross-section minimized. Running dark. No navigation lights. Electronic emissions controlled. The destroyer is invisible. Ghost ship hunting ghost ship. She closes at 28 knots. ETA to intercept, 7 hours. Arrival at dawn. Perfect timing for boarding operations and visual documentation. Meanwhile, Coast Guard coordinates response. Cutter Stratton diverts from patrol. She's national security cutter. 418 feet. Well-armed. Fast. Carries boarding teams. Law enforcement personnel. She'll handle actual interdiction. Arrest. Seizure. The Navy provides surveillance. Detection. The Coast Guard executes law enforcement. This is interagency cooperation. Each service contributing unique capabilities. Combined effect overwhelming for smugglers. At 03:15 hours August 15th, USS Mansour reaches position, 20 nautical miles from Shadow Convoy. The destroyer's SPY-3 radar tracks both vessels. Advanced multifunction radar sees through the deception, sees both ships clearly. The Caribbean Dream's Shadow Convoy tactic is useless against modern naval sensors. The technique that worked for years fails completely against prepared response. Captain Mitchell orders closer approach. 5 miles. The Mansour's stealth characteristics work perfectly. Caribbean Dream doesn't detect destroyer, doesn't know they're being tracked, doesn't realize operation is compromised. They continue following Pacific Trader, confident in their concealment, unaware that Navy destroyer and Coast Guard cutter are converging on their position with overwhelming force. At 05:45 hours, Coast Guard cutter Stratton arrives. Sunrise approaching, visibility improving, perfect conditions for boarding operation. Commander Robert Torres coordinates with Mitchell. Navy maintains surveillance, blocks escape routes. Coast Guard conducts intercept, professional coordination, rehearsed procedures. This is how modern interdiction works when services cooperate effectively. What would you have done commanding the destroyer force? Comment your tactical approach below. Stratton broadcasts on all maritime frequencies. Vessel Caribbean Dream, this is United States Coast Guard. Stop your engines immediately. Prepare for boarding. You are suspected of drug trafficking. Compliance is mandatory. The response is silence. Caribbean Dream doesn't acknowledge, doesn't stop. Maintains formation behind Pacific Trader. Still hoping Shadow Convoy provides protection. Still believing they're undetected. Torres orders warning shot. Stratton's 57-meter gun fires. Single round. Impacts ocean 300 yards ahead of Caribbean Dream. Water column 50 feet high. Unmistakable message. The smuggling ship finally reacts. Breaks formation. Turns hard starboard. Attempts to flee. Accelerates to maximum speed. Approximately 14 knots. Pathetic escape attempt. Stratton can do 28 knots. Mansour exceeds 30 knots. The freighter cannot outrun Coast Guard cutter. Cannot outmaneuver Navy destroyer. Escape is impossible. But Caribbean Dream tries anyway. Captain apparently decides fighting is better than surrender. The freighter has crew with weapons. Small arms. Possibly crew-served weapons. They prepare for resistance. Men visible on deck. Carrying rifles. Taking positions. This is going to get violent unless Coast Guard establishes overwhelming force advantage immediately. Stratton deploys helicopter. MH-65 Dolphin launches from flight deck, armed with precision rifles, M240 machine gun. The helicopter circles Caribbean Dream, shows weapons, shows capability, shows that resistance is futile. But smugglers don't surrender. They open fire. AK-47 rounds, shooting at helicopter, tracers visible in dawn light. This is assault on federal aircraft. Attempted murder. All rules of engagement authorize lethal response. The MH-65 door gunner returns fire. M240 machine gun. Controlled bursts, targeting shooting positions. The 7.62mm rounds impact deck. Smugglers dive for cover. Return fire stops. But damage is done. They shot at federal aircraft. They chose violence. Now they face consequences. Coast Guard authorization for use of force is absolute. Hostile vessel. Armed resistance. Deadly force authorized. Superior firepower. Professional response. Warfare signal. USS Mansour moves into position, blocking Caribbean Dream's escape route. The destroyer is massive compared to freighter. 15,500 tons. Advanced weapons. The visual impact is psychological. Smugglers see destroyer, see Coast Guard cutter, see helicopter. They're surrounded, outgunned, outmatched. Some crew members throw weapons overboard. AK-47s splash into ocean. Hands go up. Partial surrender. But Captain maintains course. Still trying to run. Still hoping for miracle escape that isn't coming. Torres makes decision. Disable the vessel. Stratton's 57mm gun is precise. Computer controlled. He orders shots into freighter's steering gear. Aft section, where rudder mechanisms housed. 3 rounds. Carefully aimed. Not to sink ship. Just stop it. The gun fires. Boom, boom, boom. Impacts visible on Caribbean Dream's stern. The ship lurches, begins turning circles, steering disabled, no longer controllable. Dead in water. Mission accomplished. No casualties. Professional execution. Stratton deploys rigid hull inflatable boats, 2 RHIBs, each carrying 6 Coast Guardsmen, armed, equipped. They approach Caribbean Dream from both sides. Tactical approach, covering each other. At 06:45 hours, boarding begins. Coast Guardsmen climb aboard. Weapons ready. They secure deck personnel. 14 crew members. Hands zip-tied. Searched. No resistance now. They're defeated. Captured. Facing federal charges. Below deck reveals the payload. Container after container filled with cocaine. Vacuum-sealed packages. Professional packaging. The boarding team counts systematically. Estimates total, 18,500 kilograms. That's 40,700 pounds. Street value after distribution, $1.4 billion. This is enormous seizure. One of largest freighter interdictions ever. The Shadow convoy protected billion-dollar cargo. Until it didn't. Until advanced surveillance defeated the tactic completely. The crew interrogation begins on Stratton. Captain claims ignorance. Says he thought cargo was legitimate. Complete lie. The cocaine is everywhere. Impossible to miss. He knew. They all knew. Chief engineer admits operation. Describes shadow convoy tactic. Following legitimate ships. Using radar shadow. Technique worked for year. Multiple successful deliveries. Until Navy detected them. Until sophisticated sensors saw through deception. The intelligence value is enormous. The Shadow convoy tactic explanation, successful run history, routes used, timing, coordination with land-based traffickers, distribution networks, money flows. Each detail adds to intelligence picture, enables future interdictions, improves detection methods, strengthens law enforcement capabilities across entire trafficking region. Which detection method proved most effective? Type A for synthetic aperture radar. Type B for formation analysis. Type C for historical pattern recognition. Pacific trader crew is interviewed separately. They knew nothing. Legitimate merchant ship. Regular crew. Standard operations. They never suspected Venezuelan freighter was shadowing them. Using their radar return. Exploiting their legitimate operations for drug trafficking. The shipping company is horrified. Cooperates fully. Provides all data. Route history. Radar logs. Communications. Everything to help investigation. The tactical analysis reveals shadow convoy vulnerabilities. The technique requires precise navigation. Constant attention. Any deviation breaks formation. Exposes second vessel. Weather complications make it difficult. High seas. Poor visibility. The trailing ship must maintain exact spacing. Exact speed. This is challenging. Requires skilled crew. Constant vigilance. One mistake reveals everything. Advanced surveillance defeats it easily. synthetic aperture radar, multi-ship tracking, pattern recognition algorithms. Modern sensors see multiple vessels clearly. No shadow, no concealment. The tactic works against basic radar, against routine monitoring, against uninterested observers, but against focused intelligence, against Navy P-8A with sophisticated sensors, against destroyer with advanced tracking, completely ineffective. The strategic implications are significant. Cartels invested in shadow convoy tactic, trained crews, developed procedures, achieved multiple successful deliveries. This represents organizational capability, planning, resources, but one detection, one interdiction. Entire tactic is compromised. Future attempts will be anticipated, watched for, countered. The intelligence advantage shifts to law enforcement dramatically. Coast Guard and Navy conduct joint after-action review. Lessons learned. The P-8A surveillance was critical. Detection enabled everything else. The Mansour provided overwatch, blocked escape. The Stratton executed interdiction. Each service contributed essential capability. Combined effect achieved complete success. 0 losses, total seizure. This is model for future operations requiring multiple assets. The legal proceedings begin in San Diego. Federal court. All 14 crew members charged. Conspiracy to import controlled substances. Possession with intent to distribute. Assault on federal officers. Operating unregistered vessel. The evidence is overwhelming. Caught in act. Cocaine seized. Weapons documented. Assault on helicopter recorded. No defense strategy overcomes this evidence mountain. Most defendants plead guilty. Sentences range from 20 to 40 years. Captain receives life without parole. He commanded operation. Shot at federal aircraft. Endangered lives. Judge cites extreme danger. Sophisticated tactics. Billion-dollar enterprise. Maximum sentence appropriate. The message is clear. Shadow convoy tactics result in complete failure and maximum penalties. The financial investigation traces money. The Caribbean Dream was purchased through Shell Company. Venezuelan registration. Panamanian flag. The ownership chain leads to cartel leadership. High-level traffickers. DEA follows connections. Within 3 weeks, 18 additional arrests. Across 5 countries. Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Mexico, United States. Each arrest degrades organization, removes capability, disrupts operations. Asset seizure totals $52 million. Bank accounts, real estate, businesses, vehicles, everything connected to shadow convoy operation. All forfeited, turned over to government. Funds support continued law enforcement, international cooperation, technology development. The cartels lose more than cocaine. They lose infrastructure, operating capital, future capability. The cocaine gets destroyed, burned under federal protocols, witnessed, documented, chain of custody maintained, 18,500 kilograms eliminated from distribution, thousands of lives potentially saved, communities protected. This is tangible impact, measurable success. One interdiction, $1 billion removed from criminal enterprise, massive organizational disruption. Warfare signal analysis examines tactical evolution. Shadow convoy represents innovation. Cartels adapt constantly. When one method fails, they try another. Fast boats intercepted? Try shadow convoy. Shadow convoy detected? Try different tactic. The cycle continues. Law enforcement must stay ahead, must anticipate, must counter before techniques mature. Technology provides advantage. Advanced sensors, pattern recognition, multi-domain surveillance, interagency cooperation. These capabilities enable detection, enable interdiction, enable success against sophisticated threats. Investment in technology, in training, in coordination. This is what defeats criminal innovation, regardless of sophistication or resources. The Pacific Trader returns to commercial operations. Crew shaken, but unharmed. Shipping company reviews procedures. Adds awareness training. Recognizes vessels shadowing. Reports suspicious activity. They become partners in detection. Commercial shipping cooperating with law enforcement. This multiplies surveillance capability across global maritime domain. The quiz answer: Venezuela attempted shadow convoy tactic with MV Caribbean Dream, trailing legitimate U.S. cargo ship, MV Pacific Trader, using radar shadow for concealment. Navy P-8A Poseidon detected suspicious formation with synthetic aperture radar and pattern recognition. USS Michael Mansour, Zumwalt-class destroyer and Coast Guard cutter Stratton intercepted. Caribbean Dream attempted escape and fired on MH-65 helicopter. Stratton disabled vessel with 57mm gun targeting steering gear. Complete seizure of 18,500 kilograms cocaine worth $1.4 billion. 14 arrests. Shadow convoy tactic completely defeated by advanced surveillance and coordinated response demonstrating technological superiority. 3 questions for you. Can criminal organizations develop tactics that defeat modern surveillance? Should commercial shipping companies be required to monitor for shadow vessels? What happens when cartels combine multiple sophisticated tactics simultaneously? Subscribe to Warfare Signal, where elite operations meet tactical innovation. We cover the technology, the methods, the people defeating transnational crime. Hit subscribe. Enable notifications. Next episode reveals acoustic detection systems that find submarines and semi-submersibles. This is Warfare Signal. Superior technology, professional response, unstoppable vigilance.